So, figure skating movie, you say. Let me guess. 1. The main character has a traumatic accident or injury. 2. Main character starts pairs figure skating and has an enemies to lovers progression with her partner, most often a hockey boy turned into male figure skater. Or if we're talking about the animated series Yuri on Ice, that is a whole nother set of tropes within itself. But today we're gonna cover it all because we are tier ranking every single piece of figure skating movie or TV show out there. Because 'tis the season for figure skating,
and why not share my unsolicited opinions on the internet?
Hello friends of the internet. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Kathy and I'm a 26-year-old competitive figure skater living and training in New York City. And as a figure skater myself, I have a little bit to share around the behind the scenes of what the actual figure skating world is like. And let me tell you, there's a huge variance of how figure skating is portrayed in pop culture media. From just completely, absolutely unrealistic, please do not try this at home because you will most likely die, to, okay, this is actually pretty realistic. I literally spent hours on the depths of r/figure skating, researching every single piece of figure skating media to exist. But if I did miss any piece of obscure figure skating media that you absolutely love, please leave your opinions and comments down in the comment sections below. And do note that these are my personal subjective opinions. Emphasis on subjective. If you agree, disagree, want to just talk in the comments down below, please leave your thoughts down there because I know if you're a figure skating fan, you most definitely have opinions. So let's review our tiers today, shall we? We have S, masterpiece, A, respectable, B, simply mid, C, not my cup of tea, D, just like LOL, what the fuck is happening here? Alright, let's dive straight into the deep end and start with movies. First movie we got is Blades of Glory. I'm sure many of you have already seen this film. It is like a cult classic, absolute peak comedy. It's one of those films where I will not recommend you try any of the moves at home because you will most likely die. And even if you're a competitive figure skater, do not try these moves at home, but you probably already know better. It's essentially about these two guys who both skate in the men's singles event and they both tie for like a gold medal. They are complete opposites, they hate each other, they got into a fight that caused them to be banned from figure skating. But they found a loophole back, of course, as a pairs figure skating team. And they just do some of the craziest shit to impress the judges. If you've seen this movie, you've probably seen The Iron Lotus. Yeah, would not recommend you try this at home. But this movie is, you know, very lighthearted, comedic, obviously. So for that, I think I'll give it an A tier. I think it's respectable. It's just a nice cult classic. Next, we got I, Tonya. And I, Tonya is one of the most recent pop culture references of figure skating and popular media. And essentially, it's the infamous movie about the Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan scandal. And if you're not familiar with the scandal, then you definitely live under a rock. And as the certified queen of living under a rock, even I know about this scandal. Tonya Harding, for reference, is the first American woman to land a triple axel in competition. And this is essentially the story about how Tonya allegedly had her ex-husband take a bat to Nancy Kerrigan's knees to kind of wipe her out, take out the competition. Tonya was banned from life from figure skating. So in this movie, they had Margot Robbie play Tonya, and at first I was like, interesting casting decision. Margot Robbie, same person who played Barbie, by the way. And I was just thinking, like, Tonya is this kind of rough around the edges, like super antithesis to your typical ice princess aesthetic. But honestly, I thought she did an absolute fabulous job at capturing kind of the complexity of Tonya's character as someone who has gone through abuse and trauma growing up from both her parents as well as her romantic partners. So for that, I think this movie was actually quite well done. I'll put it in S masterpiece. And then we got Ice Princess. This is kind of another figure skating movie cult classic that you've probably already seen before, but it's essentially about this girl who is trying to get a scholarship to none other than, wait for it, Harvard, because in every single movie, the main character always tries to go to Harvard or Stanford, even though I'm just like, they spend like 2 minutes every day studying, and I'm like, that's not gonna cut it into real world, fam. But anyways, for this scholarship, she has to present a personal project, which she, of course, does on the physics of figure skating. So she basically starts falling in love with figure skating and rekindles a relationship with it through this project, and she starts applying her learnings from physics to her actual figure skating. And then, you guessed it, she ends up starting competing at like nationals and all of a sudden has a triple Salchow. And I'm just like, girl, if I can study some physics and go do a triple Salchow like right now, you betcha you'll catch me back in school. I think the storyline is cute and all, but I would say overall, I'll have to stick it in B, just simply mid. So next we have Ice Castle, which is a movie about a figure skater who kind of gets discovered at age 16, which is deemed as old by the figure skating world, which is Absolutely false. Don't let anyone tell you that, because if you are familiar with the model of this community and this channel here, it's never too old to start figure skating. It's kind of sad that a lot of people think that 16 is already too late for figure skating. But regardless, it's about this girl. She gets discovered. She really starts getting good. And then she kind of gets wiped out by an accident where she loses her vision. So this story is kind of about how she gets back into competition after that traumatic accident and finds ways around her obstructive vision. I think honestly, any athlete story that's about the perseverance of the human spirit when it comes to overcoming physical challenges and obstacles, I'm just a huge sucker for. Then we got the cutting edge. Cue your classic skating rom-com tropes. It's essentially about a girl who's a figure skater and a guy who plays hockey. Yeah, I've never heard that one before. So the girl is essentially a pair skater who originally had a terrible partner, so she breaks up with that partner. She's struggling to find a new partner because, as we all know, men in the sport of figure skating, a rare species. So introduced to the scene, Hot Hockey Boy. So Hot Hockey Boy suffered a career-ending injury that prevents him from playing hockey. And then years later, the coach miraculously finds this Hot Hockey Boy again out of nowhere and makes him the girl's Paris figure skating partner. So, okay. One second. Let's do a little bit of a reality check here, shall we? So for context, hockey skating is very different than figure skating. Even if you're like an Olympic level hockey player, you cannot just learn figure skating with a snap of a finger, especially pairs figure skating, where that shit is really dangerous and really crazy. Been there, done that myself. I even made a YouTube video about it if you're interested, link in the description down below, where I actually learned how to pairs figure skate with a partner. And that shit is not stuff you can learn overnight, so reality check, 0 out of 10. But I digress. You know, classic enemies to lovers progression. The girl originally hates him, he hates her but wants another shot at the Olympics. They have some fights, they make up, they fall in love, they win a gold medal at the Olympics, woohoo. Talk about things escalating quickly. So for that, I'll put in B, simply mid, you know, very tropey, very unrealistic, but like a nice guilty pleasure watch when you don't want to use your brain. Then we have Champions, a love story, which has literally the exact same plot line as Cutting Edge. So for that, I'll stick it in B tier as well. Like, what is this pop culture obsession with female figure skaters doing pairs figure skating with male hockey players? Like, you do know that real male figure skaters actually exist, and so do female hockey players. Like, literally blows my mind, but I guess all of these movies were made in like the 1950s. Next, we got On Thin Ice, a Tay Babylonia story, which is actually more of like a docu-movie about a real life of an actual figure skater named Tay, who has a real life male figure skater partner, Randy, who unfortunately had a horrible accident. It's essentially about how her Olympic dreams kind of came crashing down and how she sunk into kind of a world of drug usage and depression. So it's a really sad story. I don't think I have enough information to judge it, so I will put it in the B tier. And the next one is called The Promise Kept, the Oksana Bayol story. So this is essentially kind of another docu-movie about a real-life Ukrainian figure skater named Oksana Bayol. If you're a figure skating fan, you probably already know of her because she's kind of iconic. But essentially, it's about her journey to capture the 1994 Olympic gold medal in the ladies event after going through the hardship of losing her mother to cancer. And it was this huge thing because she had to beat the favorite from the US, who was Nancy Kerrigan. And yes, that is the same Nancy that I mentioned in the whole Tanya and Nancy scandal. And it became a whole nother scandal on Nancy's side, actually, where the cameras caught her kind of talking shit about Oksana after she won the gold medal and not Nancy. And she honestly, during the medal ceremony, gave her the, like, Nancy gave Oksana like the biggest side eye of all time. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. But anyways, y'all, figure skating is a small ass world. Like, every generation, it's like the same 5 characters in a reality TV show. Her story is for sure an inspiring one. I cannot speak to the production quality of the film because it is quite old, but for what it's worth and her story, I would have to stick this in S tier. I can't imagine having to persevere to win a gold medal after I just lost my mom to cancer. So kudos to her. And she was like, what, like 16? So really awesome story. Next, we have Ice Angel, which is about the captain of the US men's hockey team who dies in a traumatic accident and, wait for the next part, gets reincarnated in the body of a female figure skater. Like, guys, I'm literally not making this shit up. It's either you're a hockey player who becomes the male figure skating partner of a female figure skater, or in this movie's case, they're like, screw that, we're gonna be avant-garde. Why don't you just become the female figure skater? So it's essentially about his journey and adapting to the body of a woman, getting used to figure skating, and having to trained to compete in figure skating for the Olympics. So janky, fluffy stuff like that, and for that, I have to put that in D tier because I'm just like, what is happening? Next one we got is called Go Figure, and it's essentially a Disney Channel figure skating movie. I never thought I would put those two things in the same sentence. It's about a 14-year-old girl who wants to make it in figure skating, and she finds this Russian coach. Of course, the coach is always Russian, but she coaches at like a really, really bougie private school, but she manages to find a loophole into that school through a hockey scholarship with evidently zero hockey skills. Like, literally no idea how that would happen in real life, but again, this is just another one of those movies where you just kind of turn your brain off and just have a nice feel-good time. I think the ending was kind of heartwarming in this movie, but I would still have to stick it in C, not my cup of tea. Alrighty, let's move on to TV shows and animes. And I know you guys are probably waiting for this, but let's talk about Yuri on Ice. Yuri on Ice is the infamous anime about figure skating. It literally has all the anime tropes you can ever wish and ask for. For an animated series, I actually give huge kudos to the animators and writers of Yuri on Ice because it is hilariously actually one of the most accurate portrayals of figure skating in pop culture media. I think it actually does a really good job of portraying what the actual Grand Prix competitive series is like, which is an actual real life figure skating, competition series. It's like the big thing of every competitive season in actual real figure skating. And I will say the main character's struggles with self-confidence and having mental blocks is a very real experience that me, myself, as a competitive figure skater, and I'm sure other athletes as well, can very much relate to. So for that, I'm gonna have to stick this one in S tier. Of course, it's laced with its healthy dose of classic anime, comedy, and romantic tropes. Till this day, the debate still stands. Did they kiss or did they not kiss in that scene? Who knows? So the next anime I got is called Ginbon Kaleidoscope. So apparently this is actually supposed to be the figure skating anime that predates Yuri on Ice. It's about this Japanese figure skater who loses consciousness at a figure skating competition in Montreal after falling in a triple Lutz. Like, I don't know, something about figure skating media, they love giving the main character traumatic accidents. But this is the crazy part. Essentially, at the very same time, this Canadian stunt pilot dude also dies in a tragic accident. Okay, the girl doesn't die, but the guy dies. And the figure skater wakes up from her loss of consciousness being possessed by the ghost of the Canadian pilot dude. And it's kind of this weird like body switching situation. Like, of course they start off hating each other and then somehow they fall in love, which I'm not even sure how that even works. I don't think I can watch this whole thing, but based on the synopsis that I have read, it's giving Your Name vibes. If you guys ever watched that famous Japanese animated movie, highly would recommend. It's really, really good. But it's essentially about like the girl and a guy and how they swap bodies and, typical switching body tropes. Honestly, the plot is so out of this world that I have no idea what is happening. I'm gonna have to stick this into the what is happening here. Also, I just feel like typically anything that involves like body switching, not the biggest fan of that trope. I think Your Name is one of the few pieces of media ever to do it tastefully. So the next anime is called Medalist. I actually did not know about this at all, but one of you guys actually commented and recommended it in the comment sections of one of my old videos. But essentially there's like a new figure skating anime coming out in 2025. I think as of right now, Medalist is still just a manga, but it's gonna get its anime adaptation soon, so I just threw it in here. After reading the synopsis, I do actually like the plot quite a good deal. It's about this young girl who is 11 years old and she wants to have dreams of being a figure skater and being a competitive figure skater, and the world around her is essentially telling her it is too late. And once again, not the truth, never too late to start skating. She basically meets this ice dancer who is retiring and he becomes kind of her coach, and it's essentially about her journey to kind of work towards going for a gold medal. And I do think the story is quite refreshing from just what I know. The plot seems to be more centered around the development of the main character rather than her romance or her starting another, pairs figure skating journey with like some random boy. So for that, I'll slot the storyline in A tier. So more to come when I actually see this adapted into an animated series. Next, we have the Netflix TV series Spinning Out. I watched this in college with my figure skating team when it came out, and I have one word for the series: messy. It's kind of one of those shows where it's so janky, but then you still continue to watch it for the tea. So it's essentially about a female figure skater who suffers from a traumatic injury which creates huge mental blocks for her now. You see, this is why your girl is scared of jumping, because figure skating low-key really scary fucking ass sport. We have literally knives on our feet. But of course, you know, all these accidents are a little bit dramatized in all these TV shows and movies. But this girl tries to return to skating, and she essentially decides to actually pivot to pairs figure skating because somehow that's less scary. So she gets paired with this male figure skater. Thank God it's an actual male skater instead of a hockey player this time. Anyways, of course, through lots and lots of drama, they start developing some feels for each other, but the relationship feels really toxic. Her relationship with her parents feel really toxic. It's just kind of a hot mess, but if I'm gonna be honest, from the stories that I heard from my friends who have started figure skating at a very, very young age, the world is very much so like that. Dramatic mothers, like crazy people, like some of these people in figure skating, crazy characters. I cannot say that the drama is not real because it is very real, especially in certain rinks. And for that, I would have to put the series in C. It's just not my cup of tea. It's just too messy, and I have no idea what is going on sometimes. Also, y'all, don't tell me this was not inspired by Tessa and Scott's 2018 Pyeongchang Olympic routine. Like, the main female character she casted even looks a lot like Tessa. So the next one we have is called I Have Nothing. Alright, now we're talking. This is kind of a comedic documentary created by Canadian comedian Carolyn Taylor, who has no experience as an on-ice choreographer, no experience in skating herself at all, but one day she just decides to embark on a journey of choreographing an Olympic level pairs figure skating routine to Whitney Houston's song I Have Nothing. Not gonna lie, this is exactly the type of shit I would make on my channel if I had the production budget. I know this is supposed to be like a fun, comedic documentary series, but honestly, props to her for learning something new and taking on such a huge challenge to go through the process to learn all these things, learn about skating, learn about choreographing a routine. Like, honestly, I'm a figure skater myself, and if you had me choreograph my own routine, I would probably be like, holy shit, what is going on? I feel like this woman definitely embodies like the good spirit and the good vibes of, you know, always having the bravery to put yourself out there and try something new. So for that, I will put this in S tier. Next we have Zero Chill, another Netflix series. Like, Netflix, you literally have zero chill because this is literally another spinning out-esque TV series. There's just so much drama and more drama and more drama that I'm just kind of, you know, lost in the sauce. I literally don't think I can stomach watching this, but the drama here is more oriented around sibling drama, where the girl figure skater has a brother who plays hockey and he's like this big hockey star, and her parents move to send him to like a bougie hockey academy, but now she has to find a new pair skating partner. Classic. And overall, just kind of a hot mess. To add on to that, they even named one of the characters Axel. Like, you gotta be joking. This unfortunately has to go to the D tier of just what the fuck is going on. Next, we have documentaries. Probably some of the most realistic takes of figure skating, because obviously based on real shit that has happened. And to that, figure skating has a lot of real life drama, so we're about to dive right in. The first documentary is Meddling. This documentary is actually quite good in my opinion. It covers one of the biggest figure skating scandals of all time, which involves the judging scandal at the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, where everyone thought Canadian pair Jamie Salé and David Peltier, I think that's how you say their names, like everyone thought they got gold and deserved gold, but it actually went to the Russians. And it was this whole hot mess situation where the French judge actually allegedly admitted that she was kind of pressured to give the Russian team a higher score than she wanted. I think this documentary provided really good insight into how political of a sport figure skating actually is. And I'm not a fan of the political side of figure skating at all. And there's a lot more happening behind the scenes that you don't see on the Olympics. I think the documentary was quite well made and the plot was quite riveting. So for that, I'll put it in S tier. For the next one, I'm gonna group these together because they're very, very much similar types of media, and honestly my opinion on them is probably going to be the same. So we have Freeze, On Edge, the Tessa and Scott Show, Be Good Johnny Weir, and this one called Rompiendo El Helio. And all of these are essentially docuseries on real figure skaters and real people. Freeze is a British docuseries about British ice dancers. On Edge is the ice dance docuseries about the Montreal Ice Dance School, which is infamous because they literally like monopolize like 80% of all the ice dance teams competing at the Olympics now. You got the Tessa and Scott Show, which is a docuseries about Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer, Be Good Johnny Weir about Johnny Weir, and the last one is about Spanish skater Javier Fernandez. These are honestly like the most similar videos to what I make on my channel, where I kind of show like the whole behind the scenes of what it's like to train for something, you know, the ups and downs, the emotions, the different people I interact with, the coaching, all of that. So if you really enjoy figure skating, these are quite interesting to watch because it feels like the general public does really like to have insight behind the curtains of a world they have no idea about. And I think the production quality of these vary a good amount, but overall, I would say I would stick these in B tier. Then we have Ice King, which is another cool documentary about figure skater John Curry. And he was kind of an artistic pioneer for men's figure skating because he essentially took it from like a very macho technical sport to kind of a more artistic version of men's figure skating that we see on the Olympics today. To a certain degree, I still think men's figure skating is a lot more focused on like the jumps and all that. But I digress. He was also one of the first openly gay Olympians ever in a time when homosexuality was actually illegal, and just kind of him being a pioneer and having to go through all the obstacles associated with that is honestly quite amazing. So I'll have to put his story in A tier, very respectable. And next I'm gonna group a couple more shows together again because again, very similar drama. We have Skating with the Stars, Dancing on Ice, Battle of the Blades, and Skating with the Celebrities. And all of these, exactly what it sounds like. It's essentially like the skating version of Dancing with the Stars, if you have watched that. Which personally, I'm not gonna lie, I love watching Dancing with the Stars, and I'm a huge fan of that show. But personally, for me, when it comes to the skating equivalent of these, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like the production quality, or just the fact that skating is so hard that it takes much longer for someone who has never skated before to grasp figure skating, let alone put together a full-blown performance for judges. And I think just something about the production quality of these shows just make it kind of a little hard to watch. But honestly, always love watching people who don't know skating at all try skating and kind of embark on this journey to challenge themselves to try something new. That part I think is really cool, but I just think the other parts like the production and the whole thingamajig just feel like doesn't work as well as dancing. And for that, I think I just have to stick these shows in C tier, not my cup of tea. Alright friends, that's a wrap. If you like more videos where I talk about either figure skating or show you guys my own figure skating journey itself, please like, comment, and subscribe. It will take you 1 second and I will love you 3,000, and it will literally help the channel out so much. Leave a comment below on what you would like to see from me next, what tier ranking video or what stuff you want me to rank next, because your next idea may just be the next video I make. This video was actually a suggestion and recommendation from my tier ranking all figure skating moves video, so thank you for the subscriber who commented that in the comment section down below. Once again, the comment section is a free-for-all. As long as you keep it positive, share your thoughts and opinions down below. Agree, disagree, whatever it is. Until next time, if you skate, stay safe out there, and please do not try pairs figure skating with a random hockey boy or girl. Alright, bye!
Boy, your honey sickly sweet keeps me coming, got me weak. You could kill me, I'd still